Welcome to Not a Great Whisperer podcast. This is your host, Katy Ray. I am with one of my very good friends, Nicholas Rosado. Yes, Rosado means pink in Spanish.
I'm Mr.
You're
Pink,
welcome. He's Mr. Pink from Reservoir Dogs. We met at work. I hired him in our dispensary, medical marijuana dispensary. I no longer work there. He's living his dream, helping people live their cannabis dream. But welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
It's great to be here.
We finally recorded it. So this is a fun story. When I had my whole idea of the podcast, I was sitting at work one day and we were just chatting, just talking about goals. And I was like, I'm just not a great whisperer. And Nick goes, that's your podcast name. And I go, what the fuck? You're right. It is, because I'm not a great whisperer. I'm really not good at it. And we were probably talking shit about something. I don't remember what I said when I say it often. But thanks for that. We want to give a shout out to Nick today for that moment.
You're welcome for naming your podcast.
You're welcome. No fees needed. So let's go into your journey with your main journey with cooking with cannabis. You just started classes. You're helping people cook. What got you into it? How do you feel when you do it? Go.
I just love creating medicine for people that I know is going to make them feel better, and just allowing people to have the knowledge to cook really gives them a different route for that. There's a lot more benefits or different benefits that you can get from edibles rather than smoking or just inhaling or taking a tincture. So
what kind of stigma have you had to fight for, about that? We're talking about people with edibles. You look young, even though we're the same age. You have a baby face, but how difficult is that for you? How's that challenge with the stigma around it?
It's actually eased up a lot over the years, but I mean, I didn't tell really anybody in my family or outside of it really, other than my friend group, that I'd smoked weed or thought of it as a medication for a long time, even though that's why I started reading about weed was for its medicinal purposes. So. Did
you feel like they would just be like, okay, Nick, whatever?
Yeah, just like the typical, he's just a stoner.
Judgment.
Just judgment on it, when it's really, the culture is evolving. Even this Florida is slow to evolve. We're making it.
Florida, yeah, it's a little bit harder sometimes. Yeah, we're making it. Those imaginary lines, state by state. We're figuring it out. So what have you noticed along your journey? Kind of tips for people, when they have an idea and they're worried about the judgment, what are some things that you've embraced?
I just try not to think about other people's judgments, because at the end of the day, that's just a reflection on them, not you. So just if you have a good idea and you think it's good, and you just surround yourself with like-minded people and, go after it.
Yeah, and the pressures you have being in a corporate atmosphere. Because being so personable in a corporate atmosphere, it's really hard to get your ideas across. And maybe sometimes the message isn't clearly stated when you have it. But how have you been able to kind of fight those obstacles? Because it's a very profit-oriented business right now, right?
It really is.
And you're very people-focused. Mm-hmm. How have you been able to kind of get through those barriers?
I just continue to, go my own path, and, the cooking class that I'm starting, I just had to make that happen for myself. It wouldn't have happened in the corporate environment that I work in. So you just have to, when you have those ideas and those things that you think will spark in your community, you just have to, go after it yourself. Don't wait for anybody to do the work for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. So you're in your 30s, a male in a very, I feel like, what's the word? Males are very masculine focused, and you're really focused on kindness and people. What kind of barriers do you have getting through to other men in your industry? I feel like there's a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Because you meet the ones that are just yeah, bro. And you're like, oh, okay, calm down.
You have your dude bros.
Yeah, the dude bros.
Macho guys.
Yeah, right? Or just the jocks, even though you're a very fit person, not meaning that jockey, but just masculine. How do you feel that has been kind of hard to kind of find the right men really to be around? Because I feel like women are very much receptive to you, right? You're charming. But they're very receptive to the idea of helping people and things like that. And yes, it is sometimes like I'm doing gender, right? But it's like that. Where how have you felt how have men and different generations more receptive to you? Or like older men listening more?
I would say the younger generation is really a lot more accepting than people necessarily our age or older. But across the board, if I've experienced any, gender bias because I do express myself more freely. So
Yeah.
people think that, I might, not be straight or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just, just kind of move past those people. You're not
People
there.
are focused on judging, whatever. So in the cannabis industry, what is your like view of a perfect industry for cannabis? Like what's your ultimate like goal or vision?
Well, I think that
Everyone's skipping through like a fucking forest, just smoking a joint. That and
I think that the people who are running these shows and having major dispensaries and things, they really just have to look after three things, in my opinion, and that's the people who cultivate the medicine, the people that are brave enough to bring it to the masses, and then the community surrounding that. So I just envision that as my ultimate company,
like an organizational structure. Those are the three main mission. That's the mission. Yeah, right. I like that. So there's no forest and frolicking and smoking a J.
Oh yeah, they're all
that too. And then everybody.
We're all just making topicals and edibles and singing kumbaya in the woods.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, smell this bud. What's your favorite part of the process? The cultivation part, the end product results. Like, what's your favorite part of the process?
I really am in love with the entire thing. Just like everything from watching the seed grow and getting clones and watching that mother plant just supply all the clones and just, growing and making I guess my favorite part would be to see the medicine as it's helping people, like seeing people return every, week or 2 weeks or whatever it is. And, they're actually getting better.
Yep. I love that. Do you think we're going to slow down this push for legalization? Do you think there's like a halt on it, especially in Florida?
Yeah, with the who is it? Whoever the campaign is, that they're putting, forward money to get the votes for marijuana.
For rec?
It seemed like, yeah, definitely for recreational. Like we got, enough signatures, and then for some reason they couldn't have people work hard enough to count them. Again, Florida with the counting.
Yeah. Here we are.
So 2022 is the soonest we'll be able to vote on it in this state. And it's just, a little disappointing that it's slowing down, but I think that's just the people that run the show trying to squeeze out more money from big pharma while they can.
That and not seeing the personal effect of it. Someone in their family hasn't been through it, or, what's the most rewarding kind of ailment that you've able to help control? Well, not giving up HIPAA, but just talking about, I think Parkinson's.
Parkinson's is a good one.
Watching people control their tremors is huge.
Epilepsy, especially in
seizures, yes.
The youth that have so many, like 90 to 120 seizures, a day, and they can get on these even higher CBD products that don't have any euphoria, and they're they're down to like a few a month.
Yep.
And that's just amazing to me.
Just their family being able to see that change, right?
I've had even people come in and they're just looking at you and saying that they're tired and they just want some pain relief, and after a week or two, they're, have a smile on their face when they come back. So it's
quality of life. And that's what I always push for people. Like, everyone's not going to be on the same journey with this, but don't be scared to try it. It's a plant, right?
It is a plant.
And it's funny how both of us in our youth didn't do anything legally. Hope there's no cops listening. I'm just kidding. I have a record. I'm just kidding. I was already arrested. But it's funny how it's like we've done like a 360, right? And now we're legally dispensing this medicine that I don't think I knew as much about how medicinal it was like you did when I was younger. yeah, I'm going to be honest. I wasn't doing it for medicinal purposes. Yeah, it was just kind of fun. It was like a science project. Basically, I wanted to win the science fair. But I think it's funny how like you look back and you can talk about that and just like smile because you're like, no, I'm legally dispensing it to people who need it, especially veterans,
Especially veterans.
cancer patients, epilepsy patients. I think it's just a huge benefit to watch people start enjoying life more without the pain. And just like you, like, what did you try? Like the lotion the first time on your hands?
I did. Yeah. I was having some issues with some ligaments in my hand, and I was unable to bend my left ring finger, like even straighten it out for a while. And I got some coconut balm and started using it on my hand and like my wrist, and it was within 2 weeks that I had full range of motion again.
So cool. And you tell people 2 weeks, but it's not for everybody. It might take a month or something.
Yeah, it might take longer. Yeah. Everybody's going to be different in how they heal, and that's one of the most, I think, misunderstood things about this being a medicine is that people are just so used to going to their doctor and saying, all right, I'm going to take 10 milligrams 3 times a day. And cannabis is one of those things everybody is going to be completely different.
Oh, yeah. And our bodies metabolize it differently. You have some people who don't get affected by THC at all. Like they just never get the euphoria and you're like, what? Do you feel though the stigma is still there because people have a tendency to abuse things?
I can see that, and I can see the media also, like, throw, like, if somebody got into a drunk driving accident, like
they had their
they smoked a joint 4 hours before, but they took 6 shots of whiskey right before they got in the car.
It's definitely because they were high,
and they're gonna say it's because they're high. Yeah.
But they also took 6 shots of whiskey right before they got behind the wheel. Yeah, but it was definitely because they smoked 4 hours ago. Because it's a drug, and everyone says drug, so they're like, oh, it's a drug. I'm the same way with that. I think it can be a gateway drug for people who do other drugs. But if I only smoked weed in college, so it wasn't like a gateway to anything harder for me. But it's like you can go out and drink a couple drinks. Some people need to go out and drink 20. Like, it's just like, it's different people and different levels, but we've just created this stigma that just sticks with people, and then that you have people just opening companies to profit off of, and they have fillers in it, and they're not focused on the people, just like big pharma. So like, I worry that the people creating the medicine will then create it in a way where it becomes harmful. So that's my worry. Is it a good worry?
It's a valid point. It's a valid point. I think that there's always going to be people taking advantage of the system and putting harmful things in what we choose to put in our body, and that's why you really have to be mindful of where the medicine you are getting is sourced from, and ask them, what is MCT oil in this vape, or is vitamin
coconut
C
oil
or
in
vitamin
this vape
Astane, is that in here? Like, just have to be and read
vitamin
your packaging. Vitamin E acetate, yeah. That's one of the
oh
the
my gosh, she was putting that in vapes?
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Mostly black market people.
Oh yeah, like
looking to extend their profit.
Or at a gas station.
Yeah.
And it's usually on the back, right? You read it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to read all the ingredients in your vapes.
Just like people do with food.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they eat that donut. I don't know what's in it.
Some say organic and non-FDA approved. How does that work?
How is that not contradictory? What is happening here? Okay. You're going to start a company. The organization is based on... I'm just kidding. You're not starting around. So what is your cooking class called?
It's called Stirring the Pot, thanks to Katy, right?
We help out with titles. We just help out. We love our life.
She got that one for me.
And you're in a different season of life, right? So you always have there's always a rough patch in life, but you're kind of living in the moment. Things are happening. Patience is huge. None of us have patience in this world. You met a great gal.
I did.
Yeah.
She's pretty great.
Pretty cool gal. I like her. Approved. But it's funny because when things change, people always are like, oh my gosh, things are changing. This sucks. But it's really embracing it and finally taking a step back. I think this cooking class is going to be great, right?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I had a overwhelming response of people that signed up. Actually,
So cool.
my new girlfriend Ashley, she made the art for the logo of the cooking
Shout out.
class, and we got people to sign up, and I'm gonna be holding events. I put out my first text correspondence at 4:20 on Friday.
Of course
to
you did.
everybody that signed up to the class.
To that
And
8-year-old guy, he's like, I don't even understand why this came out at 4:20. I'm just kidding. He was probably in the 70s. Oh man. But that's awesome, right? So because of Florida, of course, and the laws, do they bring their own medicine? Do you just use kind of like a fake oil so that they see how you do it? Like how does that work?
Yeah, the point is to get them comfortable with infusing their butter, ghee, or oil, whatever their preference is to cook with, to get them comfortable with putting that, expensive medicine into, a couple $1 thing of butter. So, we're going to go over infusing, and I'll have you probably use like a honey to replicate that and put it in the actual syringe that the medicine comes in. And then
you use a substitute so they can see how it works.
And then I'll send them home with some recipes to try out, and they'll have my contact information. So if they have any doubts along the way, I can reassure them.
I love that. And it's really just them getting comfortable with infusing it. And they might not might not cook a lot. So it's also just getting them comfortable with cooking. I love that. That's super fun. And where are you going to do it?
Right now I have a good friend that's going to allow me to use her kitchen, and then we're going to take the initial proceeds from the classes to get into a community kitchen where everybody can have their own station.
Oh, cool. Okay, any community kitchens out there, holler at us. That's great, but how many people do you have first round?
So the first round is I had a dozen people sign up for the class, and we're going to split it into 2 classes of 6.
So you have enough room?
That we have enough room, and there's not just people over jumbling with questions and whatnot like that. So.
That's so cool. How excited. Are you super hype about it?
I'm super
Nick's
excited.
Nick's super hype is like, yeah, bro. I'm just kidding. Nick's super hype is right now. He's like so hype.
I'm really excited about it. I'm just, also a little anxious and nervous. And sometimes I question as to, how can I teach these people to do this? But
oh my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. Do you practice?
I do. I have a lot of experience in the kitchen with cannabis.
No, but are you talking through it to yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Yeah, you have to, right? But yeah, first time, you got to do it. You got to jump. You got to take the leap. And you can ask them for feedback after. And it ranges, right? It's not, did you notice the group of people that signed up is just a range of people?
Oh, yeah. It's a range of, elder guys and women and younger people our age.
So cool. They're just making edibles, living their best life.
A lot of people want to know how to make gummies. So I've been practicing on that.
Oh, man. You're right. So many people want gummies. That seems hard. Do you have to freeze those or something?
No, you just get your gelatin with...
like Jell-O?
Yeah.
Shit.
Get it to a certain temperature just right before boiling, and just kind of pour it into the molds with some lecithin. And
what's going to help with yours is you're measuring it where people, I remember I was in high school, I made a crumb cake. And we all did 1/4 of the crumb cake. I also couldn't get up that day, from the couch. But you don't know how much was in there. There's a measuring. So these people are actually going to be able to dose with their edibles.
Yeah, I'm super huge on knowing the milligrams that you're eating because we want to get up.
People should be able to move from, their neck down.
So I'm super conscious about that, and I have my calculations down to a point to where say, all right, this is this X amount of milligrams of THC, X amount of milligrams of CBD. So
if people need 2 gummies, they eat 2. If they need 1, they just have 1. If you need a half, you do half, but you know how many milligrams. So how does that work? So in the gummy, when you infuse it, and it's a 10 milligram gummy, if you eat half, do you know if you're getting 5?
Yeah, because it
will
evenly
distribute. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like an injection. Like when I say infuse, I'm thinking you take a needle of the oil and you put it in the gelatin. It's literally made with it.
Yeah, it's melted into it.
Okay, cool. And what do you find is easier, the oil, the butter?
Really cheap butter, actually.
Really?
Like the fat content.
The 99%? I had the 99-cent butter sticks.
Yeah, like parquet.
Yeah, that's exactly what I use for cookies. For regular cookies.
So the fat content in that is so high
Absorbs.
that it really binds with the THC and the CBD and the cannabinoids. So
Did you try like an organic one once?
I did.
And it destroyed everything.
Yeah, it's just like you almost have to like buy some lard and add the fat back in.
Yeah. You're like, this isn't going to work out. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. You're like, no, the cheaper the better.
Yes.
Basically, your tub of butter that costs you not even 10 cents.
Yeah, government butter.
I have to add lard to it, like you're making Cuban bread. Does not sound fun. Okay, that's awesome. And what's your favorite food to make?
I really like actually just making I call them hobo grilled cheeses. And just like infuse that with with the infused butter. Just butter both sides of the bread and get some fancy grilled cheese.
Oh my gosh, a food truck 2022. A grilled cheese cannabis food truck. That sounds amazing because one of my favorite food trucks is Mr. Grilled Cheese or whatever the fuck it's called. And if you had, oh my gosh, that's life. And how did you like fall into that? Were you like, oh, you need butter for my bread?
I just
add some
extra butter one day, and I was, I was on a kick of making grilled cheeses with nice cheeses, and I was like, I'm gonna.
Well, I do usually the cheap cheese. When you're balling on a budget, you make grilled cheese a lot. But I love that. That's amazing. Oh my gosh! And you just make it fancy for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So fancy grilled cheese edibles. That's the greatest thing. And what are you gonna cook for what are you gonna teach them? Gummies on your first cooking? Or are you going to do like a baking?
I'm actually going to do my mom's recipe of some banana bread. Yeah. You've had my mom's
banana bread, and I've had her.
The Mexican wedding cookies.
Yes. But you're Puerto Rican.
Yes.
But you're making Mexican wedding cookies. It makes it even that much better. They're amazing. Make sure, though, if you ever eat his mom's wedding cookies, they are not infused because you eat like 10 of them, and it would not be smart for anybody who has children or has to go pick them up. But banana bread, what a good pick. And then, so having the cooking class, do you have to be very aware of like not bringing in nuts and things that people are allergic to?
Yeah, so I'm going to send out a follow-up text to my original one. And just try to see if anybody has any allergies.
And you provide the ingredients?
I provide all the ingredients and, yep.
That's so cool. So everything will be there for them. And then they leave with the recipe. And then they leave with all the information of how to do this so they can go home and use their own medicine.
Exactly.
So cool. It's come to fruition. It is here.
It is here.
Stir in the pot. Everybody should. I think that's one of the coolest things because I need to come to one of the classes.
Yes.
Not right now because I'm going to give birth, but afterwards. So what's your favorite thing you learned from this? Starting your own cooking class. It's hard as shit.
It is hard as shit. You really have to be your own cheerleader.
Mm-hmm. It's true, right? It really is. I hype myself up all the time. I'm a really good cheerleader. And what is the scariest part right now?
Just actually having that first class. I think once it starts and I get through like the first couple minute jitters, it'll fall into place. But right now it's just scary to think that I'm actually doing it.
Yeah, right. And there's no milestones to hit. I think you're young and you're able to make this huge. I mean, you're what, 22?
We're the same.
We're the same age. But I feel like you should tell people like just keep going, right? You're in the industry where you want to be. Maybe not exactly where you want to be in the industry, but you're in the industry, right?
In the industry.
But you're starting something on your own to then start even doing more within the industry. I think it's a great start, right?
Yes.
So what is some of your advice out there for people just trying to figure out how to make their next move?
Just no matter who you are and what you're about, like what, you have the ability to do hard things. So just remember that.
Be your biggest cheerleader. Do hard things. This is Cannabis Cooking 101 on Not a Great Whisperer podcast with Nick Rosado, Mr. Pink. I love that you came. I can't believe I said 4 times in a row, but it's fine. Life happens. Sometimes you just forget what you're saying. Cooking class, reach out to us on Not a Great Whisperer IG or on katyray.com. You can find Nick on all of those links. He's Midblink.
I'm at Midblink on Instagram. I just created at Mellow Moon Topicals. So it'll be Mellow Moon Topicals and Creations, the real MMTC.
Are you gonna do a stirring the pot eventually?
Yes, Stirring the Pot will have its own, I'm hoping, website soon.
Yeah, once this launches, it'll
Mhm.
probably already launch. So stirring the pot something. Just find it on Not a Great Whisperer page. And then what else? I think that's it, right?
I also have a Weedstagram at Cosmic Habits.
Weedstagram.
That's on the gram.
That's on the gram. Find me. And yeah, you'll find Nick on At The Real Cray and Not a Great Whisperer and KatyRay.com. I loved having you today. I hope you had fun.
Of course.
Stirring the pot.
It was a blast.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
And you will be listening to Morty's music as we leave this podcast. Thanks, everyone.